Hi there, this is Christina from Lifestyle Paragon, and in this video, I will be showing you how to land a 100% remote, six-figure job without giving up your current high-earning career, draining your life savings, or putting your traveling dreams on hold. You're probably watching this video because, of course, you would like the dream, which is both location and financial freedom. And you would like to figure out how to do so without running into all the scam jobs, without having to do a downgrade in your current career. And so this is showing you exactly how I did it, and I'm very excited to be able to teach it to you as well. So again, hi, I'm Christina. I've been a digital nomad for about 2 years while still making six figures at my remote job. I've invested over $100,000 into my retirement funds, and I've built up my $20,000 emergency fund, all while still traveling the world. This is me in Medellin, Colombia. I coach current and aspiring digital nomads on how to land 100% remote job offers that will ensure the stability of regular and prosperous income without having to drain your current high earning career, drain your life savings, deal with scams, or putting your traveling dreams on hold. And all this is not just because we love to work, we don't dream of labor, of course. It's so that way you can allow yourself to live and work wherever you want without compromises. So again, today I'm going to show you exactly how to search for these 100% remote six-figure jobs, ace those interviews in order to secure those jobs, which will also secure your forever remote career that will allow you to travel the world on your own terms. It's the dream, both financial and location freedom. So keep watching this video. This is definitely for you. If you want to build a thriving location independent career that allows you to work and live where you want, you're sick of having to choose between either you have this career, but you're stuck going into the office, or you're traveling abroad as like a backpacker and you're having to budget for every single meal, every single accommodation, or doing a type of fly by night remote gig like customer service representative, being a nanny, doing data entry, low level things like that, because that's many years before in your career and you're just too big to have to step down into that level just to be able to travel. You want the best of both worlds. This is for you if you value and are ready to invest in expert guidance from yours truly and are willing to mentally commit to a transformative coaching journey. It takes a lot to be the best of the best in order to secure those 100% remote six-figure jobs. So you have to be coachable, to be an avid learner, and be ready to do what other people won't do, who all want to travel the world like you, but they're not doing what it takes to actually secure those positions. It's also for you if you're not currently scraping by financially. If you're in a position where you just need a job, period, because you're behind on bills or things like that, you might want to start with having a more humble job first, because I'm just going to say it, being able to travel the world, have the location freedom, and also make six figures at the same time is like the top of work that you can be doing, not just in the world, but in the US. So this is a very privileged position that you're trying to put yourself in. And if you're just not at that level, this might not be for you. My coaching is very powerful and it's meant to elevate people who want to maintain a high standard of living that they're currently living, but experience a slight upgrade. To say that you have a 100% remote job that is six figures, you're a high earner, and you still get to have that location freedom, that's a very privileged position that you want to put yourself in. In order to be able to make that jump, to make the investments in yourself, to be able to achieve that goal, you're probably already in a space where you want to maintain your current high standard of living, but experience an upgrade in terms of location freedom. So this is for you if you're already doing great, but you want to get rid of those golden handcuffs that keep you tied to the office and experience that upgrade of location freedom. So let's go do a little rewind into myself back in 2022 before I started my digital nomad journey. So this is me in, I think, a botanical gardens or something in Washington, D.C. And I was living an okay life. You know, I had this little one bedroom, one bathroom apartment in the outskirts of the DMV area. It was still Metro line, but it took me like 40-ish minutes on the Metro in order to get to DC proper. I lived a very quotidian life. It was the same routine every day. I woke up, I went across the room to where my desk was, worked. After work, when I logged off, I cooked myself dinner, watched an episode and a half of Bob's Burgers, and then I went to bed. And that life's okay. You know, I'm not going to knock it. I lived in a rat-free, roach-free, gunshot-free apartment, which is great. That's like always going to be my standard of living no matter where I am. But there wasn't really something exciting about it, especially because I was paying almost $2,000 a month for that apartment. So, you know, this is like I lived a fine life. It was fine in DC. A lot of people travel to DC for tourism because there are things to do. I'm not going to knock it. It just wasn't the city for me, and I knew that. I knew that I wanted a little bit more. So everything changed when I was like, you know what? I have this remote job. What if I just skedaddled? So I let my lease lapse. I sold basically everything and stored it in my parents' place or something like that. And then I decided to start my digital nomad journey in Medellin, Colombia. So now let's fast forward into 2023 and beyond. So this is after I let my lease lapse, once I decided to take the plunge on myself and live the lifestyle that I knew that I deserved. So this is me out in the world. So in 2023, I was in Medellin, Colombia. I was starting everything. I was still able to work remotely and I was living my life. It was wonderful. I'm also going to point out a couple highlights from my time abroad, starting with on the left, my time in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. So I was in January 2023, I was in Medellin, Colombia. And then within that month, one of my friends called me and was like, hey, you want to be in Carnival this year? And I was like, you know what? Why not? Like I'm already in this part of the world, I might as well just go and change my plans on a whim because I can do that. I have that flexibility. And also, fun fact, I'm a classically trained samba dancer. I've been practicing samba for at least 4 to 5 years. So I was not just watching carnival. I was not just like in the streets on the block of parties. I was in carnival. I was samba dancing in the samba drum. This is me wearing the costume that my aula was participating in for the Samba School Tuichi for the 2023 carnival season. And this was definitely a bucket list activity. It's always been a dream of mine. I've been practicing this for years. And so to be able to say, to do on a whim, like, hey, I'm just going to have my Airbnb for Medellin for a month and then just go to Brazil and parade with all my Samba friends and fulfill this bucket list activity of mine. This is something priceless. I'm so grateful and thankful for that opportunity. Later on in the year, I was in Cappadocia, Turkey. It was another bucket list item of mine to see those wonderful and beautiful balloons and also the architecture of the surrounding city that is in Cappadocia. And if I were to do this in Michigan, where I'm from, this would have taken like a week of PTO. For context, I was already living in Istanbul, Turkey. And so for this one, I wanted to do like a Tuesday through Thursday trip to avoid the weekend rush and the crowds. So I just did like a half day and took 2 days off of PTO to go all the way to Cappadocia, Turkey, check off this bucket list activity and see one of the most beautiful sights in the world, in my opinion. Versus if I were back in the US, I would have to go do like take 2 travel days, a whole day of travel to go from the US to Turkey, and then the whole day back. And it would have taken maybe like a whole week of PTO versus when you have this location freedom and this flexibility, you can just cross off bucket list items on a whim. Just a simple Tuesday through Thursday trip doesn't take that much. Lastly, here on the right, we have my time at Iguazu Falls. I explored the Argentinian and Brazilian side, and I've always been drawn to bodies of water. I'm a Pisces, and this was one of the most beautiful sights I've ever seen. I love water. There were like many rainbows here during this time when I was taking these photos, and so this is something that, like I'll say again, would have taken so much time and effort if I was back in the US. I would have had to count my PTO hours. This was busy season for work for me, but I was able to kind of slip away and take this trip, whereas this would have taken much more planning to go from Michigan in the US where I'm from, take an all day flight to go to Buenos Aires, Argentina, probably, then take that as like a stop and then go here to Iguazu Falls and all the way back. But when you have that location freedom, you can see wonderful sites like this like it's nothing. And so here is me out in the world, being a digital nomad, enjoying the location freedom. And here's me at the same time simultaneously enjoying my financial freedom. So you saw all the wonderful events and all the wonderful sites that I got to see in the past, but here's what's happening in the background. You can see a screenshot for my savings account, my high yield savings account, and this is where my emergency fund sits. And I was able to grow it to over $20,000. And this is, during the time of these photos. And this is my emergency fund, not with me having to eat ramen and rice and beans for every single meal, me scraping by. This is a really stacked emergency fund. And this is something that's very important to me because I don't want to be living off the seat of my pants. And neither do you if you're watching this video. You want to have that security with knowing that if anything hits the fan, you're still going to be good. And then on the left, we have my entire, like my net worth, my portfolio. This platform, I started it a little bit before my travels. And so that's why you can see that steep incline where that red line is at 80K. So when I started using this platform, which aggregates all of my financial data, my net worth, it started at around 80K. And that was in October of 2023. And within like a year and some change in November of 2024, I was able to grow that from $80,000 to over $207,000 for my entire net worth, for my investments, for my retirement. What this basically means is if I don't invest another dollar in my life, this will grow and I'll be a millionaire by the time that I retire. It's very important to me to not have to give this up in order to travel. And I know that that's important to you as well. I'm so happy to be able to be in my bag while still be out in the world. So let's do a little bit of a recap. My journey before was that I was living in the DMV in the Washington, D.C. area, paying almost $2,000 a month for a simple, like, it was fine, like, it was, all apartments nowadays are called luxury when it's like basically standard. But I was living in a one bed, one bath apartment, 40 minutes away from the city center. I actually found myself avoiding going on vacations because I resented having to pay for hotel and rent. I wish I just had that flexibility, especially when you're paying so much in rent. You want to be at home enjoying your rent because it takes a lot of work and money to pay for that. So I didn't travel as much as I want to, and I resented not having that amount of freedom and flexibility that I knew that I deserved. At the time, my job's horrible PTO policy made it almost impossible to truly relax, be present during my limited vacations, because every single day that I was on vacation enjoying myself, I was also thinking, oh, I'm not going to be able to do this because I'm basically draining my bank. So that was something that I kept in mind as well. And also back then, I agonized over the concept of giving up my six-figure career just to gallivant across the world while draining my savings account. I knew something had to change. I knew I had those golden handcuffs, and I knew that there was a way if I was cunning enough to be able to have both at the same time. And so that's what I did. I decided that I didn't want to have to choose between both, so I didn't. And now I've been maxing out my 401ks and my Roth IRAs, and I've been able to invest over $100,000 during my time abroad. With that money that I've invested, my retirement fund grew to over $200,000. I'm not even in my 30s yet. And I've been able to stack my emergency fund to over $20,000. I've been able to fulfill a lot of bucket list activities like parading in Rio Carnival and seeing the Cappadocia balloon. I finally figured out how to live a life that I don't need a vacation from, because I feel like every day is a vacation, by leveraging my six-figure career instead of running away from it, which is advice that you most likely have heard if you're in the travel community. So today I'm going to show you how to land your 100% remote career, not for the sake of working, but so that way you can fulfill your travel dreams of living and working from anywhere in the world that you want. It's time to live your dream life abroad without giving up your current high-paying career. Land your 100% remote six-figure job and work and live anywhere in the world without scams, because you're going to position yourself as a top-tier candidate who is able to snag those highly coveted roles. Here's the old way. Here's where you're stuck. Right now, you're probably asking for remote opportunities in forums where scammers thrive, like those Facebook groups, those forums where it's like, remote work abroad, what can I do? I'm looking for a work from home job, that you see in the screenshot there. And what's happening is you're not standing out as a dream candidate. And you're probably only interested in low barrier to entry remote jobs with too much competition. And what that means is everyone, when they join these groups and they're looking for a remote work from home job, it's like social media manager, data entry, being a nanny, being an au pair, those types of things. Well, anyone can do data entry. Probably AI can do data entry. Anyone can do social media management, be a virtual assistant. That's one that I see a lot. And what happens with that is, when there's a low barrier to entry, when everyone can do that job, that means anyone can do that job. There's so much competition, you don't stand out. The people hiring for those positions know that they have all the cards because they're able to offer, I guess, the location freedom, definitely not the financial freedom. You'll be lucky to make maybe $15 an hour USD, which is probably a serious downgrade from what you're currently used to. So they don't have the motivation to treat their employees well. They can be very picky with who they hire. It's just a race to the bottom. You can't compete against desperation, because there's always someone who's willing to accept less, be paid less. So that's the old way, and here's why you're stuck. You're also probably stuck here. You're being inundated with messages from spammers, like that screenshot here. You're being ghosted by employers with jobs that would change your life, that would give you the location and financial freedom that you deserve, but you're not getting any play with them. You're being offered lowball salaries or only in-person job offers that don't offer you the flexibility that you want. And you're probably right now suffering at your current in-office job, wishing for something different, dreading Sundays, dreading every day that you have to go into the office, basically wasting your life, because we spend most of our time working. If you work 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, you only get 2 days off. You're spending more time miserable and wishing something was different than taking action to change your circumstances. So I'm going to show you how to do that. In short, here's the problem. It's almost impossible to get the job that you need in order to live the life that you want because you think that most people must work in an office to make a decent living, get prioritized for employment. You feel like you have to deal with the golden handcuffs because at least you have something gold, and you don't see a world beyond being able to have both at the same time, being able to work abroad and still maintain your current six-figure salary. The problem also is that the process to pivot your entire career to a remote friendlier industry or a job family where you're still a competitive candidate while also avoiding the sea of scam job postings is just so overwhelming. And in terms of being overwhelmed, instead of throwing your hat in the ring for a high paying 100% remote career, instead of working with a career coach that can help you pivot to these very highly coveted jobs and investing yourself in that way, it's just more tempting to give up and settle for a gig job abroad or drain your savings to travel. You might have heard travel in the travel sphere, like, go travel now, money returns. That is definitely not the case. There are people still paying off their honeymoons years later. So the money doesn't return. And for you've worked too damn hard in your career and your studies to secure that job in the first place, to throw it all away to go live off of maybe $15 an hour or to do house sitting abroad and always be at the whim of other people. So the problem is all of what I've explained before. And so the solution is you need to adapt your strategies to secure your dream life abroad. There's a way to sustainably live your dream life abroad, and I'm here to show you that. The issue here is subpar candidacy with fierce competition. Everyone wants a remote six-figure job. Everyone. So how do you stand out from everyone that also wants that job? It kind of is like a roller coaster effect. So it starts with you are getting ghosted and rejected for jobs. You're kind of defeated. You put your travel dreams on hold, but then you receive maybe a new interview request and you get your hopes up, and then you get ghosted again, or you get rejected because there's just better candidates out there, and it just starts the cycle again. The problem in its root is you're not a top-notch candidate who can snag those highly coveted 100% remote six-figure jobs that will allow you to live your life on your terms. What you ultimately want is that location and financial freedom, but the thing getting in the way of that is not being a top-notch candidate who could get those highly coveted positions. Everyone wants those positions, so how are you going to come out on top? What are you going to do for yourself that other people are not willing to do that will set you ahead of the competition? So here's my roadmap to a six-figure, 100% remote career and financial prosperity while still traveling. It is part of my Wander While Working three-step program. So step one is the research and prepare phase. How this works is I will assess your current working situation and triage your situation. We'll get our bearings in terms of, what skills you currently have, what skills are transferable, what your industry is looking like in terms of the long-term landscape, things like that. I'll also leverage verified sources to find jobs. That way you never have to deal with a scam job again. And if one does find a way to wiggle within the cracks, you are in a space of abundance and having other offers and other job interviews on the way. So that way you don't feel like you need to play cat and mouse with that just to see if it's legitimate. If anything gives you a red flag, you can just discard it. Also, I'll help you develop a niche skill set in a remote friendly job family or industry. So that way you'll always stand out and be top of mind for skill sets that are not easily replaced. It will completely get rid of that issue that I was talking about before with those low barrier to entry type of jobs. Lastly, I'll create a remote job worthy resume and LinkedIn profile for you. So that way you can passively receive interview invitations. Your professional profile is so important because it speaks on your behalf before you're even there. Recruiters use LinkedIn kind of like Google. If they have a role that they need to fill, you want to make sure that your profile comes to the top and it crosses all of their boxes. You make it easier for the person who is hiring to hire you. And in essence, how this works is if you don't have this step, you don't do the research and the preparation, you'll always be running in circles without niching down and standing out from the remote job competition. You'll always be getting ghosted. You'll always be approached by scam jobs instead of legitimate ones that are still high paying and still 100% remote. In this one, we'll focus on the quality instead of the quantity of the jobs that you apply to and the jobs that you pursue. We will master your elevator pitch and reach out to your new set of professional peers and mentors that will clue you into the hidden job market so you'll have access to jobs that will completely check off all your boxes before they're even posted to the public. We will rebrand your professional persona to establish brand authority in your niche industry so that way when anyone has an opening, you will be top of mind to fill that position. You'll also learn discernment so that you never get played by remote job scams again. In essence, getting application notice is one thing, but getting interviews is another challenge. So this will help you free yourself from the frustrating job search. When you start getting interviews also, the way you portray yourself during every interview stage until you get that offer letter, it differs. How you talk to the hiring manager versus the recruiter versus your peers for a cross-functional type of role, even to director and C-suite level, it all changes. So within this step, I'll help you master your interview stages as well, so you can be prepared when you talk to your future bosses. The last step here is step 3, that is the interview and negotiate phase. How this works is I will do personalized interview practice with you for each stage of the candidacy journey, like I was talking about before. All of these matter when you talk to HR, the hiring manager, final round, things like that. So that way you'll always be the cream of the crop candidate who they know will be able to give them value up front. Especially in this type of environment, jobs are picky. They want the job done yesterday. This is not the time for an underdog story. This is not the time for I'm easily coachable, or this person was nervous, but maybe we'll get them a chance. There is someone who is more qualified that will snatch that role up. So I want you to be that person who's a top qualified candidate in that pool of applicants, not just someone that gets to scrape by. It's too brutal for that nowadays. Within this phase, I'll help you advocate for your salary and total compensation and benefits during the job negotiation processes. Yes, even in this job market. I always like to say there are always people hiring. And even for myself, even just last week, I've had 3 interview requests, 2 actual interviews, and the third one is being scheduled for the next week. And there are layoffs happening within that same week. So there's always someone hiring. So why not let it be you? Also within this phase, you will manage your newfound influx of income to create true lifelong financial freedom, because it's great to have these jobs that give you that location freedom, of course, and also the money is very important. That's the whole reason why you want to refuse to settle for golden handcuffs and you want the best of both worlds. How do we make it so that way you don't have to work until the day you die? How can we make it so that way you can retire and live a great life while still not having to exchange your time for money? A lot of my clients and myself personally, I'm trying to retire in my 40s. That's my trajectory. And I want the same for my clients as well. So that way they can retire in their 40s and not their 50s and 60s. So what do you do with that money to optimize it and make your money work for you instead of you having to work to the bone for your money? The important part of this phase is that you'll never land your 6-figure, 100% remote career without communicating your professional value. Like I said, this environment is very brutal. The job market is so harsh. They don't have time, they don't have the energy, and they can afford to be picky. They don't have the time to work with someone. They have a plethora of highly qualified candidates that are desperate for work. So how do you prove to them that you're the best person to fill that job, especially for companies that are still hiring at high wages and still offering 100% remote work? They get to have the pick of the litter. So you need to be that pick, and I'll help you be that. So here's the benefits of a targeted job search approach that I teach to my clients that you're not going to find anywhere else. With this targeted job search approach, you get to say no to getting scammed, to getting ghosted by jobs. You get to say no to that never-ending remote job search process. I know a lot of people, if you're watching this right now, you've probably been searching for at least 3 months. So that's just too much time. Say no to commuting to work, or draining your energy, having to spend at least 2 extra hours of your day, of your life, dealing with people that you really don't care about in a city that you may not even care about. Say no to draining your PTO balance to travel, or staying stuck at home, or relying on luck to land jobs instead of your actual skill set. I always like to say that going to college, going to your master's programs and beyond, getting those certifications and degrees gave you the skill set to do a job. And a lot of people, they think once they turn their tassel, that's it. That's all they have to do in order to have the jobs of their dreams, have the career of their dreams. But that's not the case. And this is how you're going to win out on everyone else. The thing that you have to do to grow your career is to invest in yourself again, to know how to communicate your value to employers. A big example for myself is when I went through my master's program, I had a cohort of 80 people, but I was one of the few that got jobs that paid over $80,000 a year straight out of grad school, whereas the others had jobs that were paying around $42.50 a year. One of the other benefits of a targeted job search approach that I talk about with my clients all the time, you no longer have to rely on luck to land jobs. A lot of people think that once they turn the tassel, they got the degrees that they needed, they invested the time and money to get those degrees and certifications, that's it. That's all they need to have a wonderful, thriving career. And that's not the case, especially nowadays. What they're missing out on, what you're getting right now in this video, and when you work with me, you get that extra edge, is it's not enough to just have those degrees and certifications, because hundreds, if not thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of other people have those same degrees. But what makes you win out over everyone else? That's the ability to communicate your value. That's a different skill set that you need to invest in yourself to learn that will give you that extra edge over these other candidates. So even though you're competing with jobs that have maybe 7 applicants applying to it, you'll be the person that wins out because you took my coaching and I taught you how to beat out all the other candidates by learning how to communicate your value, learning how to play the game of career. You can say no to all that stuff and say yes to a 3-part simple and dynamic job search strategy that'll get you working and living anywhere in the world that you want. And still, like I said before, without having to give up your high earning career because you work too hard to give that up, draining your life savings, or putting your traveling dreams on hold, or dealing with scams and just basically delaying the life that you know that you deserve. Here are some benefits of my Wonderwall working program, which is a proven step-by-step system that gives you clarity and direction in your job search so you're not just throwing spaghetti at the wall, you're not wasting your time, your applications aren't going to the abyss, and your LinkedIn inbox isn't dry. It'll help you increase visibility of your professional portfolio and give you that competitive edge that'll beat the other candidates who are vying for the same coveted jobs as you. You will have more confidence in the hiring process and job search from a place of abundance instead of desperation. And you'll have secured your financial freedom by maintaining your high salary instead of having to give everything up and start over from zero just to be able to say that you traveled the world. And also on that note, you'll have the freedom to travel where you want, when you want, and still make great money. And so much more comes with the Wonderwall working program. Let's talk a little bit more about our time together. So I talked about this a little bit before. It's a little bit of a recap, but phase 1 is how I will teach you to stand out with a professional profile that will impress recruiters and get you at the top of the pile. So instead of relying on little job hacks, job search hacks, like be the first person to apply on Fridays or something, and then you'll get seen first thing Monday morning. It doesn't matter if a job search process, interview process is 2 weeks along the line. If they see your application, they're going to put you in the front of the list, like a person in VIP at the club instead of everyone else waiting outside. If you're good enough, then you can bypass all those little nut hacks that don't work. This strategy is just more than your next job. It's the start of your next career. The skills that you learn within my Wonderwall working program last for the rest of your life and the rest of your career. In phase 2, you'll nail interviews and connect with decision makers for top tier opportunities and insights. I'll coach you through each interview stage so that we progress to the next level leading up to that coveted job offer. So in phase 3, you'll land your dream remote job and travel while earning a high and prosperous income. And I'll be with you step by step during that negotiation process and life afterwards. At the end of the day, this is what you want. You want to be with palm trees somewhere with beautiful skies and a nice little sundress like I am, working on my computer, having that location and financial freedom. You don't want to be like me, stressed out, fanning myself in my apartment. Look at this like sad beige apartment for sad beige children. You don't want that. You want to be with where the vitamin D is, where you want to be in the world. So whether that's a mountainscape or a beach view apartment, that's where you want, but you don't want to give up your current high earning career. You want the best of both worlds. You want the top of the top, and I can get you that. In all, you don't have to choose between living your dream life abroad or your finances. You get to have it all. Let my targeted job search strategies work for you and save you from scams, interviews, and poor compensation negotiations. I always like to say that the last thing you should have to worry about is how you fund your dream life abroad. You should already be living it. And what I also like to say is you've already invested in yourself so much through your certifications, through your degrees. You've already invested tens of thousands of dollars, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars into your degrees to get your career. That's great, but now it's time to invest in your freedom. So here are my real results. Beforehand, I was stressed out by cramming in vacation activities when I didn't want to take a vacation because I resented having to pay for rent, and that at the same time, I was having to choose between my career and traveling. I thought that I had those golden handcuffs, and I was wasting my time on earth working and still living, and that's no way to live. But now, after all these pictures are below are me for my travels. Now I'm taking my time to immerse myself in every place I visit. I'm not fluent in Spanish yet, but I have friends. I can advocate for myself in doctor's offices and everything in Spanish, which I wouldn't have been able to do if I was still living my life before in the US. I've been able to work, stack my cash, and travel the world at the same time. And now I'm living a life that I don't have to escape from. I'm fulfilled, and every day feels like a vacation for me. And I'm not the only one getting results. You can see here that I really put my all into my clients. I want them to get results. I know it can be done. If I'm working with you, I know that you can achieve these results. And so I put my all into having my clients get that location freedom, get that financial freedom, and not have to choose and not have to make sacrifices in their lives. Let's hone in on one of my clients, Catherine. So Her goals with working with me was to find another remote job to continue her digital nomad journey. She beforehand was succeeding off of luck in prior economies when things are a little bit more easygoing, but now that's much more brutal. She wanted to perfect her job search strategy, and working with me was the way to do it. She also wanted to receive higher paying offers and more senior roles too, because she came in with the mindset that in order to have that location freedom, have that 100% remote job, she would have to give up being able to make the same or more than her current salary. And after working with me, she's niched down her expertise in a remote hostel field to one that is a lot more remote work friendlier. And I've also tailored her resume and LinkedIn profile to appeal to the jobs that she wants, not the jobs that she's had. Also, let's talk about Danny. So her goals was to find a new job or get a promotion at her current job. She also wanted to pivot to the next level of her career while still in a bad economy and not listen to the doom and gloom, stay where you are, stay put, stay complacent, scarcity mindset. She also wanted to cross over into the six-figure salary threshold. And so after working with me, she received 3 passive interview requests within 2 weeks of us working together when I revamped her LinkedIn profile. It's like a flip of a switch when you work with me. And these are the 180 type of results that you get when you take that time and you take that investment and you work with a dedicated career coach that is hell bent on getting you top tier results. She's received 10 plus interviews in the past 6 weeks, each with roles paying over $100,000 a year, and now LinkedIn inbox is filled with interview requests and invitations to prestigious industry-specific conferences to help her further her career. And this is her from the screenshot before, if you recognize it, that was like, I'm being inundated with phone calls from recruiters and it's hard to deal with when I'm at work. These are the problems that you have when you work with me within my Wander While Working program. Everyone else gets to complain about remote job scams and all that stuff, but you get to complain about having too many interview requests. It's time to make giving up your high earning career optional. You don't have to give up your high earning career in order to travel the world on your terms. It's time to make draining your life savings optional. You don't have to give up your career, live off your savings, take up a job that is 10 years your junior or just something intern level just to be able to travel the world. You get to grow your savings instead of drain it. And it's time to make putting off your travel dreams optional. So many people stay complacent. They complain to the high heavens like, oh, I want a remote job. I want a 6-figure job. I want to travel the world. I want this. I want that. I'm going to fall for these MLM scams. I'm not going to put in the hard work. But you don't have to put off your travel dreams if you do the things that other people won't do, won't work with the career coach. They'd be like, oh, I can just figure it out on my own. I can DIY it, all that stuff, while still having the same results that they were having 6 months ago, staying stuck at their job that they don't like, dealing with the golden handcuffs. You don't have to put off your travel dreams. You can start traveling now if you get the job that will allow you to do so. And working with me will get you that job so that way you can live the dream life, have that location and financial freedom that you deserve, that you crave. With that being said, I'm inviting you to apply to my Wander While Working program. It's just 3 steps. The first one is to click this button below so that way you can apply for my Wander While Working program. Once you click the button, you'll be redirected to fill out a quick application form so I can learn a little bit about you and your situation. And the last step is once I receive your application, I'll review it personally within 48 hours. And if you are a good fit, I will send over a short program overview guide with next steps and send you a message on Instagram notifying you of your acceptance. Please take the application seriously because while I read through every single application, I don't accept every single applicant. I only accept applicants who I know will be able to achieve results like mine, finding 100% remote 6-figure jobs. So if your application gets accepted, know that you have what it takes to work on yourself, to be able to be a top tier candidate who can snag those highly coveted roles. I see the potential and we can achieve that goal together. So yeah, that's the end of this video. I'm really looking forward to reading through your application. So please click the link below to apply and I'll see you over in our messages. Bye.